All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome. Just finishing up logging on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube friends. Thanks for joining us this evening. I think we're going to have a light crowd. We didn't run many ads for this week's webinar, I should say, and just sent out a text reminder earlier today. So just doing a lot of recaps this evening. We're gonna go through everything tonight, and we will be doing another webinar 2 weeks from today, and that one will probably be pulling out all the stops. We'll be running some ads and give people more ample notice than the last minute that we did this evening. So, but beautiful day, just coming in from outside. Wow, I feel bad being cooped up in an office, but had an opportunity to take a nice young couple out that is using some down payment assistance money. So very, very always honored to be a part of someone's journey on that side of it. So it's just a little after 7 o'clock. So I always like to start promptly just to reward the people who are on time. So always, I appreciate everyone's time this evening and taking that first step. I mean, it takes sometimes a lot to jump on to a webinar, something like this, and broaden your horizons and learn, if not for anything else, especially in today's twisted world. A lot of boy, I was just talking to somebody earlier, how many scam calls we get and how many people out there promising us all kinds of things, and mostly just to try to separate us from our hard-earned money. But so it really is very special when people show up on these webinars. So I always want to thank people for that. So I promise you one thing, we are not here to sell you anything this evening. I am a 100% abundance person. I just put as much educational content out there as heavenly possible, and things shine from there. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is John Collins. You know what? I should probably let me get this, because I always forget to record this, and then
recording in progress.
People always ask for the recording, and I tend to make it available to the people that don't see it. For any of you that ever want to go out and see any of my previous recordings, you can hit my YouTube channel, Own the Roof, or even out on Facebook. Go to the live event area and you'll see all the recordings. So this weekend, Saturday, I'm actually doing a follow-up webinar for people that need credit help. I find that getting the money, as odd as it sounds, for me is the easiest part of purchasing a home. So there are so many down payment assistance programs, grants, and techniques to get closing costs paid that the money for me always turns out to be the easiest part. I find right now credit seems to be the biggest hurdle for a lot of people, and I get it. It's there's nothing encouraging out there. Every time I go to the grocery store, I shake my head. For what it costs my wife and I in groceries, it's what I used to spend for a whole family, for my wife and I and our 4 kids. So there's nothing cheap out there anymore. But one thing I can tell you, it is a lot harder to actually get into a home than it was 20 years ago or 30 years ago. But the odd part is, with all of the tools that we're going to show you this evening, with the down payment assistance programs and grants and things like that, and the ways that we get people into homes with very little money out of pocket, it is a lot easier from a money standpoint. It's just a little bit harder because of all the other baggage that goes along with it too. So, but we'll touch on some of those things this evening. So, like I was about to say a moment ago, my name is John Collins. I have been, in the real estate profession for 38 years now. It wasn't until about 12 years ago that I had this calling to help people tap into these down payment assistance programs and grants. And it was actually a byproduct of a financial meltdown of my own. So I was heavily weighted in the mortgage world and title insurance world, and went through a meltdown with a bookkeeper that took a liberty to embezzle quite a bit of money. And after all of that shakeout, didn't have really much left to speak of, but a wife and kids, and we still had to put food on the table. So I basically went back to work in the actually finance area and built myself back up. And then when I actually qualified to buy a home again, at the 11th hour, the gentleman that was processing the loan was supposed to be doing a down payment assistance program that we qualified for. He had taken the liberty to not do that. And that we had saved up money where we could use our own down payment, 3.5% on an FHA. It wasn't a huge down payment, but it still irks me today that that gentleman made a decision for me when I really was entitled to qualifying for the down payment assistance money. So my wife and I still wanted the house, so we went through with the sale, of course, but that inspired me to get back into real estate about 15 years ago. And then after a couple of years, I was like, you know what, I'm going to make a career out of educating people on these down payment assistance programs and grants. And more importantly, I'm going to make this educational content available to all masses. So I am very heavily rooted in underserved communities. So I am from Detroit City proper, although I attract people from all over the country with regards to these down payment assistance programs and grants and some of the educational tools that we built. And I'm going to make some of those things available to you today. So, but let's get right into things because it is a beautiful evening and I want to keep this to 50 minutes today just so people can get out and enjoy the last bit of this beautiful day. So hopefully this is a summer that is long overdue. It was a long winter this year. But I always like to start off with some of the success stories that we've had over the past few months. So this is Nate and Chelsea. Nate and Chelsea actually qualified for a $14,000 down payment assistance program to purchase this home in White Lake Township. So it actually qualified for a solar package too. So I need to follow up with Nate. I think he had that installed this month. So I want to find out how much did that impact his bill and was it really worth doing? So haven't recommended it since. I don't like to recommend things until I at least have one customer that goes through the whole process. But he bought this home in the fall and they couldn't put the system in until the spring. So, but very, very happy for Nate and Chelsea. Next person, Kenneth. Actually, this reminds me, I forgot to call Kenneth back today. Kenneth called me with a referral, family member that's wants to buy a home. So, so shout out to Kenneth. Kenneth actually called me about 6 months ago, oddly enough, from his barber's chair. He was getting his hair cut and explaining to his barber how he was being pushed out. His roommate had moved out and the lease was in his name. And as a result, the landlord was like, hey, you're not on the lease, you got to go. So as fate would have it, Kenneth was actually working with an agent that was trying to almost shoehorn him into a house that was less than quality, let's say. And he was telling his barber about it. And his barber said, hey, call this guy, John. Next thing you know, by the end of the day, Kenneth and I are out looking at a couple of houses. And we looked at the one that the other agent was trying to push him into buying, which was less than quality for sure. So, and it was it was a little bit more challenging. It was over at the area I grew up, which is Brightmoor area, Finkel and Losser. He was actually same street. It was on Lamphere is where I grew up. And as fate would have it, it was right down the street from my old house, but it needed so much work. So I showed it to Kenneth and I was like, Kenneth, it's a nice house. It needs work, but we can do better. And we ended up finding him a house over at 7 Mile Evergreen area. And this is the picture of it. Kenneth, his new dog, Maestro. We actually had to put Kenneth up in a hotel for a couple of weeks because his couch surfing wore out. But happy to help out there. But he acquired a dog, Maestro, in the process. And this is a good look at his kitchen. It was a nice, updated house. So very, very happy for Kenneth and Maestro. Next one, this is Shannon. Shannon was referred to me from the people at Kroger at 8 Mile in Wyoming. Shout out to that Kroger. I've been able to help several people there purchase a house. Shannon actually bought a house on Wyoming. Shannon is a part of a growing population of people that just don't have cars and don't want to drive. I get it. Crazy world out there. Why would you want to if you didn't have to? So we found a house a few blocks from the Kroger at 8 Mile in Wyoming so Shannon can walk to work. So she qualified for a zero down grant program through Flagstar Bank, where she only needed a couple $1,000s out of pocket at closing. Next one, Emily. Emily is one of my favorites. Emily is one of the ladies that taught me just as much as I taught her. Emily is someone who really opened the door for me and for a lot of people for that matter. Emily is the first person through the Detroit Housing Commission to actually purchase a home with her Section 8 voucher. Okay, so she did this about a little bit more than a year ago, possibly. Time kind of blends together for me, but and Emily ran the table. We bought a house on Northwest Side. It was like for $125,000. We negotiated it. It was actually a short sale situation where the property came back and we had to reduce it to $717,000. So we got a lower price on it, and she qualified for, I think it was almost 5 programs. One was the City of Detroit $25,000 program, which is still in play. If anybody's in City of Detroit, hey, shout out. That's where we got to be. $25,000, free money, just own the home for 5 years. So she got the $25,000. She also qualified for a 3% grant for a down payment from Flagstar Bank, their gift program. And then she qualified for a $5,000 closing cost credit and a $500 appraisal grant credit. So all in, she got $33,134. And what's really special about this is the housing choice voucher, the Section 8 voucher, is going to be making her mortgage payment for the next 10 to 15 years. So if any of you are voucher recipients right now, please schedule a call with me. I love educating people on these. They're not rocket science. There's some steps that we've got to take. And there's a gentleman at the Detroit Housing Commission right now, Terrence, just does a fantastic job. It's just such a delight. Every opportunity I have to talk to him is motivating. So he is a get things done type of person. So anyways, if any of you someone's asking right now, Mary Coleman, how are you? So please schedule a call. I will put my calendar right here. And here we go. I'll put this in the chat box. There you go. Click that link, book a call with me. Okay. So Emily, first one to get done on that through the Detroit Housing Commission. I was so proud to be a part of that. And ever since, now there's a whole slew of people that are coming through that can qualify for all of the down payment assistance programs and grants. It's a little bit more challenging to stack programs the way we did for Emily, but there's still a lot of money out there. So don't be shy. Schedule a call with me. Love to learn your situation, put myself in your shoes and tell you exactly what we can do. And more importantly, give you a game plan and a timeline with regards to how long it's going to take to get you there. Okay. Next person is Tashiana. She qualified for the $25,000 through the City of Detroit program. And here's Brian. Brian purchased a home in Inkster. He used the $10,000 from the state of Michigan, $10,000 down payment assistance program. This home in Inkster, payments were only $1,200 a month. So, and then here's another one, Deborah. This was another great story. Love Deborah. Deborah actually qualified for the Tobias Harris program, which still has funding. So the Tobias Harris program is giving $75,000 in down payment assistance to Detroit home buyers. Okay, great program. Happy to go into that in detail with you. So anybody that's looking in Detroit, you've got tons of money right now. Okay, and right now is just an incredible time to buy. So with regards to money that's sitting out there. So what's all of these people have in common is all of them were at one point in time sitting where you are tonight. They were sitting at home on a webinar, meeting this guy, John Collins, who was telling them about these down payment assistance programs and grants. And for whatever reason, they had the courage to pick up the phone, schedule a call. And I promise you, I don't bite. I love helping people through these programs. Okay. Whether it's 2 weeks, 2 months, or 2 years, it doesn't matter to me. There's some people that have been on my webinars for 3 to 4 years. You know what? We don't have a big audience tonight, maybe 20 people, 30 people with the LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. I can't see the numbers there, but anybody that's been following me a few years, could you tap in the chat box? Let people know that I'm here, if not 2, sometimes 3 times a month. So, hey, Tasha Gaskin's asking, do you need to be a resident of Detroit to receive the $75,000? No. What you need to be is you need to have lived in the city of Detroit at some point in time in your life. And all they do is ask you, have you ever lived in the city? Yes. That's what you answer, and you can get access to the $75,000. Now, the $75,000 has a little more baggage to it than the City of Detroit program, but it's a lot of money. So, and what I mean by baggage is you got to have a 620 score for that. City of Detroit, not so much. It's a down payment assistance program that Cynthia still follow after 3 years. Thank you, Cynthia. Appreciate you being here and for saying that. That's awesome. So, the down payment assistance program from the Tobias Harris program is a grant you've got to pay back when you sell the house, but you get free use of the money. So what it does is it allows people to get in with very little money out of pocket, number one, and number two, it keeps your payments so low. For example, what was let's go back to where Deborah was. Deborah qualified for the $75,000 Tobias Harris program. Her payments were like $750 a month by the time we were done buying this home in the University District. So, I mean, you can't even get a 1-bedroom apartment for that right now. So granted, she's going to have to pay back the $75,000 when she sells the house. I mean, it could be 30 years, but you get free use of it. So in 30 years, I get free use of $75,000. Why wouldn't you do that? Plus, it gets her in a nice, affordable payment for this long haul. So, all right. So this is the Tobias Harris program. It's actually, Tobias Harris is a member of the Detroit Pistons. He's partnered up with Guild Mortgage and a company called Homium. They will give you $75,000 or 40% of whatever the purchase price is. So if you're buying a $150,000 house, they're going to give you $60,000. I think if you get a 187 house, you get the $75,000. Okay. It's only for first-time home buyers. You got to be a current Wayne County resident is what it's saying. It should be, you need to have lived in Detroit at one point in your life. Okay. There are some minimum income restrictions. Okay. So your income needs to be below 140% of the area median income. That's $113,000 for a 2-people household. So it was initially for 9 Detroit zip codes. It's now citywide. Okay. So great program. I actually had somebody call out on Instagram that I was a scammer for advertising this program a couple of days ago. I assure you this program lives and there is still funding available for it. So, and then there's the Detroit $25,000 grant, $9 million in funding. So they're going to help up almost 800 families. It says 3-year residency required. So you need to live in the home for 3 years in order to keep the whole $25,000. Okay. It's free money. Just live there for 3 years. It can cover the down payment and your closing costs. Now, the City of Detroit, $25,000, you can buy a house with only $1,000 out of pocket. And there's no credit score requirements for the $25,000. Now, the underlying mortgages have some credit restrictions, and I'll go over those with people on a case-by-case basis. But we can get people done with scores all the way down to 560. I actually got somebody done with a 540 last go around. So eligibility, you've got to be, it's say you need to be a resident for the last 12 months. You just need to prove that you've lived in the city of Detroit for 12 months. Okay. No homeownership in the last 3 years. Your income has to be under 80% of the area median income, and you have to have at least $1,000 total out of pocket. That could be home inspections, appraisals, things like that. Total out of pocket $1,000. And there's a HUD class that you have to take. So it's a couple-hour class. And so everything is based on your application and approval, and it covers all of the Detroit zip codes. So that grant still has funding. The line is long on that one right now. I did hear that there is a 3-week wait time to get through that process. So I would encourage people to get things moving as soon as possible. Okay. And now here are some houses that are currently available with my team. Okay. We currently have about 24 houses that are available, and it'll be coming up over the next few months. So if anybody is out there looking in Warren, Redford, Farmington Hills, Westland, East Point, Roseville, I think I said Redford. So all of those communities, we've got plenty of houses out there. So don't think that the housing market, there is a shortage. Okay. I work hand in hand with a few investors that sell portfolios, and this is one of them. So right now I have the 2 on Sherman that just came up in Warren. 125,000 is what we listed those for. They're 4-bedroom, 1-bath homes in Warren. Okay. Payments on those probably will be about $1,000, $1,100 a month by the time we're done. So I also have one on Leach in Roseville that's coming up next week, and Roush is actually, got to notice that is going to be coming up next week too in East Point. So East Point and Roseville, and then obviously a couple in Warren, plus all these other ones are coming up soon. So if you need a house in any of, looks like we're heavily weighted in Macomb County right now, just reach out to me. Happy to give you a copy of that list. You could take drive-bys and let me know if you want to get inside. Also, if there are any houses you see out there, okay, I'm about to show you the down payment assistance programs and where we can access those, and the grants and eligibility requirements, all of those things. But any properties that you see out there, be it through Zillow or Redfin or any website, anything you see out there, just give me a call. My team, we're there to help. We're there to get you in there. So now, what is down payment assistance? Down payment, there's basically 2 types of funding: down payment assistance and grants. Now, down payment assistance comes in 3 types. Okay. The first down payment assistance program is one where they give you money. You have to own a home for a period of time, and typically 3, 5, 7 years. And once you've owned the house that long, you get to keep all the money. It's a forgivable second mortgage. Okay. The other down payment assistance program is one that you have to pay back when you sell the house. Okay. So you get free use of the money. Not a bad way to go. I mean, you're never making a payment on it. They're never charging you any interest. It's just that when you sell the house or you move, they want the money back. Okay. And then the third one is where you actually get repayment terms on a true second mortgage or second loan. I don't do many of those. I think I've did maybe 2 of those last year. I don't really like them. Those tend to be a little bit more expensive from an interest rate standpoint. And I just find that with all of the programs that are out there, they're just not the best option. I always like to go to the grants first. Now, what are grants? Grants are typically free money. Okay. Detroit grant, you own a home for 3 years, you get to keep all the money. Some grants, they give it to you at the closing table, and the day you keep it. Okay. So all kinds of grants and gift programs that way. I'm all about trying to tap into those first, and then we go to the down payment assistance second. And if we're lucky, we can sometimes stack one on top of the other, like Emily did. Okay. So now what are the eligibility requirements? Well, we need to show that we have sufficient provable, stable income to make the mortgage payments going forward. Okay. And I always tell people, every now and then I get someone say, well, I'm on a fixed income. That's fine. We help people on fixed incomes all the time. Okay. But for the most part, we have to have repeatable, predictable income coming in. Okay. So we also need to see like a 2-year track record of where your incomes come from, unless it's fixed. If it's fixed income, Social Security, things like that, not so much, but just the same. Now, we just already told you about the benefits of DPA or down payment assistance versus grants. Now, some of the misconceptions about down payment assistance programs. People tell you, there are a lot of naysayers out there. Oh, the interest rates are ridiculous. Ridiculous. There are some really attractive down payment assistance programs out there from an interest rate standpoint. Then you've got to make second mortgage payments. Like I said, I don't like doing the second mortgages. I just don't think that a lot of those are a good way to go, especially when we've got alternatives. Okay. So the other misconception I run into is a lot of people think you need to have a down payment in addition to these programs. No, these programs will cover 100% of your down payment. They sometimes cover your closing costs too, but if they don't, that's where we come in and we negotiate. Sellers can pay your closing costs. Lenders can give you lender credits to pay your closing costs. We can get grants to cover your closing costs. There's a lot of different ways to do it. Now, for any of you that want to learn more about these types of things, you can actually go to my website. Okay. And my website is called Own the Roof. Okay. OWNTHEROOF. Okay. And on this website, you can see all of the different tools that I have out there. Okay. I have books. I wrote a book, No Down Payment, No Problem. No Credit, No Problem. All of these, I do this to give them away and pay it forward. I mean, if you want to go out to Amazon and buy them, I mean, by all means, go ahead and do it, but you don't need to. I give them away. Just all you got to do is text me your name, information, or just send me your name and email address, and we're usually good. And you can just text that to me. Here's my cell phone number, 248-252-7283. Okay? Add me to your contacts, shoot me a text, say, hey, John, send me one of your books. Now, like I said earlier, some of the biggest hurdles, there are 3 parts to buying a home: money, your down payment, your credit, and your income. Those are the big 3 things. Okay. So we covered the money here with our down payment assistance programs and grants. And I do free webinars teaching people about credit too. So if you need help on that side, sign up. You can actually see, you have links to my webinar. If you ever want to go to another webinar, you can go right out here. You can see, here's the one tonight. And then if you go and look, here's the credit repair webinar. I've got one this Saturday, 9 a.m. Anybody wants to learn how credit applies to the mortgage world? I'm all about that. So before I got back into selling real estate 15 years ago, I spent over 20 years in the mortgage world. So I know exactly how the mortgage world applies to credit and what they look for. Okay. And in my webinar, I teach people the shortcuts of how to get a quick spike in your score. I am all about teaching people how to get their scores up 60 points in 60 days. I've got a lot of proven techniques and resources to help people there. Now, the next thing, we have courses. If not everybody likes to read, I don't know how you are. I don't like reading. I do a lot of Audible books. I like those. But I have digital courses on my website for free. Just click. There's the no down payment guide. It's probably about 4 to 6 hours. You can get a comprehensive education on how these programs work, how we tap into them, and how to get things from A to Z. We also have one for credit repair. That's probably about 3 to 4 hours. And for those of you that really want to learn, hey, the lights went off in my office. So for those of you that really want to learn the details on how we structure these transactions, go to the structured deals with little money. These are all the little techniques that I use to negotiate with sellers and banks. I actually can get banks to pay some of your closing costs for you, oddly enough. So everybody thinks they have to pay all their closing costs. No, the banks, there are ways for us to work in lender credits for people. So I go into that in how to structure deals. So these are all digital courses where you just hear me chatting away, going through everything. And then the most important thing is our application. It is called Zero Down Scout. Okay, let me go out to that website. Now, Zero Down Scout, this is where you get access to all of the down payment assistance programs and grants. Now, my team has identified 3,000 programs across the country. Okay, there's probably 40 or more programs just in the Detroit metropolitan area between grants, down payment assistance programs. So go out to the Apple Store or the Google Store and just download it. Very, very easy. If you go out and download it, it's going to take you to, let's see here. Find my programs, get started. Let's see where that takes us. Well, I think I've got a link in my notes here. We'll go over that in 1 second. Oh, dashboard. Sorry, I'm getting a little lost here. All right, we are just about back on track here. Okay, so Zero Down Scout, if you go out to the Apple Store or Google Play Store, you can download the application. It'll tell you all of the programs that are out there and what you qualify for. So let me get that link. Sorry to zip through all of this stuff on you here. Okay, well, first thing we want to do is you want to research and find out what programs are available. Okay, so we want to start with going to Zero Down Scout. That's our first tool. Okay, from there, it's going to say, what do you qualify for? All you got to do is enter your specific situation. So for example, here, I always use the house that I grew up in on. Oh, this is one I used in Florida for somebody that called earlier. So here's one, Southeast 99th Street in Somerville, Florida. Just enter the information and you can see it qualifies for 15 programs. This is a house in the middle of, it's north of Orlando. Qualifies for $25,000. The Citrus County SHIP program, $10,000, $35,000 for the Florida Homeowner Heroes program. So you can see there's lots of different programs out there. Now, if I do this in the Detroit area, let's go back to retake quiz and let's try Michigan. Detroit and 16801. Lamphere 48219. And continue, see programs. I can see that one qualifies for, look at that, 13 programs, 25,000 through Detroit, 40% through MISTA. So all kinds of programs that are out there. So this I encourage people to do first. Download this application, Zero Down Scout. This is going to take you, this is going to empower you, because what we want to do is we want to identify the programs first. All too often, I find that people go out and go find a real estate agent, which is always a good thing. That's what my team and I are. We're real estate agents. So I just happen to specialize in connecting people with all of these programs and grants and negotiating the deals. So my team opens the doors. So that's how we do it. But a lot of people go right to the lenders first. And sometimes, as good as that may sound, or as logical as that may sound, as a good course, I find that not all lenders do all programs. So the chance of you hitting the right lender to do the right programs and stack the most amount of money is probably pretty remote. So what I like to do is tell people, schedule those calls with me. Let me learn your situation. What area do you want to move to? Because these programs change from block to block. So what I can do is say, okay, this is where you want to be. These are all the programs that are out there. This is what you qualify for and how many we could possibly stack. So if that's the case, I would put you with lender A, B, or C. Okay. And there are hundreds of lenders out there. So the chance of you arbitrarily picking the one that's going to give the most amount of money that's not a high likelihood. Okay. So that's why I tell people, schedule a call. I mean, I know who they are. I know what programs fit what areas like the back of my hand. So, and I love helping people with it. So schedule that call. Happy to help you out there. The next thing that we want to do after we do our research and find the programs is we want to make sure that your income and credit and everything is going to factor into it. So we want to get those documents together. Okay. And typically they don't need a ton, but they're going to need your pay stubs and your W-2s and maybe your tax returns and maybe a couple of bank statements. Okay. So that being the case, not all that painful. Okay. It's very rare that we can't duct tape something together. And I get it. Not everybody has traditional bank accounts. Some people are on fixed incomes. Well, then we don't have pay stubs. We just get proof that you've got that fixed income coming in. And then once we get all your information together, then we're going to connect you with the lender that's going to yield you or give you the most amount of money. Okay. And we're going to get you pre-approved. Now, I typically like to connect people with lenders that are going to get you approved for more than one program. Reason being, I always like to have a plan B. Okay. I don't know how your life is, but life always gets in the way of my plans. And if I'm going to get my family hyped up for a move, I want to make sure that I've got access to a couple of programs that are going to work out. Okay. So from there, once we get you pre-approved, and usually takes a day or two, sometimes people need things done more quickly than that. And I'm fine with that. Just let me know. If you are in a housing emergency, we can get something done quickly. Okay. I don't like to promise any quicker than 3 weeks, but when I do that, you got to make sure that we've got to have all your documents. Everything's got to be in alignment. I actually got somebody done in 2 weeks last month because they were basically homeless and living with family for a little while. So stuff happens. The rental market is pretty cruddy right now, and there's no shortage of slumlords out there. So I get that. So that being the case, every now and then I get someone that's in a very awkward position. So once we get you pre-approved, now we want to connect you with one of our agents to start opening some doors for you. Okay. Now, if any of you are out there and looking for something sooner than later, I'll tell you right now is just a great time with all the money that's out there. Plus, for whatever reason, the inventory levels are increasing right now. So homes are not selling like they were a couple of years ago. So I'm not suggesting that there's a ton of huge deals out there. But what I can say is that I'm not seeing people overpay for homes like I did a couple of years ago. Okay. A couple of years ago after COVID, it was not fun. People were forced to bid on homes, and not that I was associated with people that made bad decisions, but I felt that people were maybe overpaying a tad. Okay. And I'm not seeing that right now. Okay. All right. I always tell people, imagine opening the door to your home for your family. It's a process, but it is possible. Okay. There is nothing rocket science about anything that I do. It's just aligning yourself with the people that are going to care enough to get you across the finish line. So most of the people that I work with have no intentions of purchasing a home. They just hear about me or see one of our ads when we're running them, and then they stumble across my webinars, and then, sometimes they hang around for a little while. So just like Cynthia's been hanging around for 3 years. Cynthia, I got to get you into a house. So, but I get it. It's, the timing sometimes isn't there for people. So that's why I always say, whether it's 2 weeks, 2 months, or 2 years, it's whatever your timeline is. So, and like I said, a lot of times I find knowledge is power. That's why we put all this educational free content out there for people. So whether it's you or a family member, don't let anybody tell you that you can't purchase with no money down. Okay. Most of the people I work with are getting in with just a couple $1,000s out of pocket. So if the down payment assistance programs and grants, in my mind, they always cover your down payment. So typically what we've got to wrestle with are how we pay your closing costs. I would say half the time the down payment assistance programs or grants can contribute on that side, but sometimes we need to go back to the sellers. Maybe ask them to help out. Maybe ask the lender to give us some lender credits. That's a whole art in itself. And then there are other ways to do it as well too, different grants that are out there. So a lot of ways to do it. So if not for anything else, please schedule a call with me. That would be the first step. 248-252-7283 is my cell phone number. Okay. I did put my contact information. Let me do this right here. Here's a link to my calendar. But I get it. Not everybody can schedule a time during work hours. So if you ever just want to text me, hey, John, are you free for a call? Absolutely. If I'm free, the last thing I like doing is returning a bunch of messages at the end of the day. So I tend to stay on top of my voicemails. So I kind of pride myself in it. So please do not hesitate to reach out that way. So with that being said, I want to start diving into some of your questions here. So please, any questions you have, please throw those in the chat box. One thing I do want to ask as a favor from everyone is, I think I have it here somewhere. Right here. I am putting this link in the chat box. You'll see review at the end. This is a link to my Google business page. We're trying to get some reviews on that. We've got like maybe 15 or so. We're really trying to ramp that up. So if you got any value out of tonight, if you could please go and leave a review, what your honest opinion was. So anyways, I really would appreciate it. Oh, wow, Tasha, thank you for the glowing review. Most informative, trustworthy, patient, understanding. Wow, thank you so much. You have totally made my day there, lady. Let's go back and see some of these other questions there. Great. Evelyn, I hope you got those links to schedule a call. All right, looking to buy. Cynthia, awesome. Schedule a call with me if you're ready. All right. So I know we don't have a light or heavy crowd here today, so I'm going to kind of shift over to my messages on Facebook. Got it. Okay, someone's got a great question. So as far as credit, someone's asking, what type of credit do I have to have for approval? And it really depends on the programs. A lot of the programs that I work with are flexible. So if your credit score is above a 580, we've probably got a solution for you, okay? If it's below 580, if you're in the city of Detroit right now, the Detroit DPA, Down Payment Assistance Program, that $25,000, that does not have any credit restrictions to it. So we can piggyback that with an FHA loan that's very forgiving. That's the one that I got credit scores done all the way down to a 540. So there are different options on that side. also let me put in a link to my credit repair webinar. So you can catch it on my website. Let's go back here. At Own the Roof, if you go to credit repair, there it is. I'm going to put this in the chat box. Like I said, we've got one coming up this Saturday, 9 a.m., probably about an hour. We roll through all the best do's, don'ts, and best practices, what to do and what not to do. So it's not always as easy. Common sense, let's put it this way, common sense does not play into the credit repair world, oddly enough. So perfect example is collection accounts. Paying off collection accounts doesn't always help you, okay? And I go into that in detail in our credit webinar. So, all right. What other questions do we have out there? Got it. So I don't know how much, someone's asking how much money is available with the City of Detroit program. I do not know how much money is left with that. It's been out for probably a month and a half right now. So if the last go around is any indication, it'll probably last a couple of more months and then the money will disappear. So, so it's important that we get on that line as soon as possible. Even if you don't think your situation is perfect right now, it's not a bad idea to get at the front of the line there and register for it. Okay. Especially with, if you're thinking that's because of credit. I mean, obviously we can get people's credit turned around very quickly. So, provided, you know, it's not, the thing that really derails us on the credit standpoint is recent bankruptcies are a deal killer. Recent repossessions are deal killers. Recent collections and late payments. So if we don't have those things, it's not too challenging to get credit scores bumped up quickly. All right, next question. I was recently told I didn't qualify for the 75K. I was not a resident of Detroit, even though I previously lived there. Is there any other lender you can put me in contact with? Interesting. Okay, so let me think about that for a second, Tasha. Yeah, let's schedule a call and go over that. So I was under the impression that the City of Detroit 25,000, you definitely have to be a resident for that. Resident for 12 months. Now, the Tobias Harris 75,000, that one, I've got a couple of people in it that were, all they had to do was say that they were previous residents of Detroit. So maybe the guidelines have changed recently. I don't know, but I will clarify that for you. I'll try to clarify that and get that answer to you tomorrow. Okay. Any other questions? Let me write that down. Okay, Tasha. And Gaskins. All right. Any other questions before we call it a night? All right. A couple more questions here. You are welcome. How do you apply for the 75K? So Beverly, this is how it works. So schedule a call with me. Happy to go over your situation and then connect you with a loan officer that will actually get you approved for the 75K. All right? Right away. After the I always tell people, Tasha, it's best to start looking now. And the reason I say that, not looking at houses, but looking online. It's good to get educated with how your money spends. That way, when value is presented to you and you find a house, you're not going to think twice because you're going to know what the market bears and what's priced to sell. So I'm always a fan. It's never too soon to start looking online. As far as getting into homes, we need to get you pre-approved before we get in to start looking at houses. And I will double check on the approval status. All right. Any other questions out there? All right. Well, I thank you all. Great, Beverly. I look forward to it. All right. I look forward to it. Beverly, I will give you a call as soon as I get that text. Can you explain the difference between FHA and conventional loans? Absolutely. So there's basically, those are the two big boys, conventional and FHA. So conventional is typically a loan that's a little bit more challenging to get into. So FHA, unfortunately, is kind of like the catch-all. It's it's more flexible on credit, although when you're looking at as a seller, conventional financing tends to be more preferable for most sellers because sometimes FHA can require the seller to make some repairs. Now, I feel like FHA is a great tool, and I feel like that's probably half of the, if not more, of the people I work with use FHA. So I feel like it's just a great it's a great way to buy a house. Very flexible on credit and very low on the down payment. You can actually get in with only 3.5% down. So imagine how much easier it is for people, especially if we're tight for closing costs. If we get a down payment assistance program that's $10,000, that leaves money to hopefully pay some of your closing costs. So FHA is more of, they call that a government loan, okay? So it's insured by the government, where conventional loans are loans that are packaged up and sold on Wall Street, okay? So FHA, a little bit easier to qualify for, sometimes a little bit more stringent with regards to appraisal guidelines, but those are all things that are in place to protect you as a buyer, okay? Got it. Beverly, don't know what email your information you're looking for as far as being emailed. Okay, question from Evelyn. If you have a Detroit voucher, can you use your voucher to purchase a home outside of Detroit? Yes, you can. Absolutely. It's the thing is it's just right now the most of the money that's available out there is in Detroit. You can actually use a state down payment assistance program of $10,000 and then have the voucher make your payment. Absolutely. You can go anywhere. You can buy a house anywhere with your voucher. Okay. What if I have okay, we've got, Sakaya is asking, what if I already have a property, but it's not move-in ready? Do I qualify? So the homes have to be in good, habitable condition. In other words, it has to have a functioning bathroom and a functioning kitchen. Okay. Coat of paint here, things that are dated, that's fine, but it's got to be in good condition. Okay. Beverly, this webinar, sure. I will make sure that I will try to get you a copy of this. If you could shoot me a text, Beverly, I'll definitely make sure. It is. So as long as it is in good habitable condition, you should be able to qualify. Okay. If you have schedule a call with me, have the address, I can do some homework on it and take a look at the history and give you a good feel for it. Okay. You are welcome. Thanks, Beverly. All right, we are approaching 7:55. Our last call for any questions before we call it a night. So one of the things that we did touch on, there are 3 components to qualifying for these and purchasing a home. Remember, money, credit, and income, okay? The money is the easiest part. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. If you've got a specific house, hit me up. I'll tell you exactly how to structure the deal to get in with very little money out of pocket, okay? And when I say very little money out of pocket, most of the people I work with, we are talking about 1%. So if you're buying a home for $150,000, 1% is $1,500. That's typically your minimum skin in the game. Okay. Typically, I'll tell people have a couple $1,000s just to be safe. So, money's the easy part. The next thing, the credit. Don't forget, we've got that credit repair webinar coming up. Let me put that link in here again. Put that in the chat box. So if you or anyone needs help or just wants to have a better understanding of what the credit market is like in the mortgage world, that's exactly what we go over. And give you some tools on how to manipulate your scores to get a quick spike. Okay, lots of tools out there through local credit unions right now, secured cards, and like I said earlier, the best do's and don'ts practices. So hope to see at least a couple of you on Saturday. Every time I do these on Saturday, it's a very light audience. I understand everybody's Saturday gets a little crazy and it's hard, but at the very least, sign up for it, and then you'll get the replay on it. Okay. And if you want a replay of any one of my webinars, just go out to Own the Roof on my YouTube channel. It is called Own the Roof, or on our Facebook. Evelyn, you are welcome. Yes. So this is what I say, Evelyn. We've got to start somewhere. Okay. And maybe starting now is the foundation for something in 6 months. Maybe it's 1 month. Okay. Those late payments don't always hold us back. It's just that I don't want to overpromise. So I'd love to spend some time, learn your situation, put myself in your shoes, and tell you exactly what I would do. Okay. Easy enough. All right. Okay. So thank you all very much for giving me some of your time on Wednesday. Really do appreciate it. And if there's any way I can ever help you, any of you or family, friends, please. I'm here every, maybe not every Wednesday, but at least three times a month. So, and then I tend to do the credit repair webinars once, sometimes twice a month. So, but any questions, never hesitate to reach out. Very few things I haven't done or encountered or overcome in the 38 years I've been doing this. But one of the hardest things to overcome right now is just basically just the confidence to pick up the phone or schedule a call. I find that what I do, building hope and trust, is probably the hardest thing right now in today's world. So as crazy as that sounds. So, all right. Well, thank you all very much for showing up, and hope our paths cross again soon. Have a good night, everyone. Goodbye.
Recording.